This week on Hazardous Materials, Punchline speaks, the animated night returns, and we dive into the pulpy goodness of Adventureman.
Warning. The following podcast is utter nonsense and may cause agoraphobia, kleptomania, insomnia, and oppositional defiance disorder. We are required by law to provide you with this disclaimer for hazardous materials.
Are we recording? Recording? Okay. Welcome back to Hazardous Materials, last week's comics this week, wherein we do actually talk about last week's comics this week.
It's true. We have enough comics to do a whole show. My name is Gideon Gonzalez, and with me, as always,
Casey Johnson.
And we're going to start off with the issue that every store ordered very heavy on, because it was not only the first full appearance of Punchline, but also her first cover appearance.
Oh my.
Yep. So, Batman 92 by James Tynion IV and Guillem March was actually a lot better than expected.
I did not read this book.
So, I went in very cynically, like, I'm already so sick of Punchline. I'm so sick of jerks showing up trying to buy multiple copies whenever she has a one-panel appearance and something, and to sell it on.
You have shop fatigue.
Exactly. So, I think Batman 89 and Year of the Villain Hell Arisen number 3. Like, we're going for $20 to $30 online, like day of release. So, of course, a lot of people want to buy multiple copies.
Yeah.
Not so with Batman 92, because the magic's gone. Cat's out of the bag. Everyone knows about it now, and there's plenty of supply to go. But here's the thing.
What's the thing?
It tricked me by being good.
Damn.
So.
Because, I checked out. Because I expected bad.
I also kind of checked out on Tynion's run on the title. But this issue is mostly a Riddler story, and I love me some Riddler stuff.
Which baffles me, because like I said before we started recording, my Riddler in my head is the private detective Riddler, which I enjoyed.
I love that too. Unfortunately, we haven't had him since Tony Daniel was writing, either Judd Winnick or Tony Daniel was writing the main Batman title when Dick was Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Really bad arc that I didn't like, where Riddler went crazy again. It sucked. And we got 0 Year Riddler. That was a very good Riddler arc.
Okay.
But this issue is really fun. Riddler's planning it. So the overarching arc of this Batman story has been that the classic iconic 4 Batman villains, Joker, Riddler, Penguin, and Catwoman, way back in the day had met this guy called the Designer, who came up with the perfect plans for all of them. They're like their big trump card plan to take out Batman. And so they're all doing them at the same time now at his request.
Mm-hmm.
The Riddler's plan is to turn the city blocks of Gotham into a giant crossword puzzle.
Do we have a picture for that? Yes. We do.
And so Batman has to answer the Riddler's crossword clues to save those city blocks contained within that word. And if he fails, Riddler's going to blow him up. Batman, however, has no time for this, as he is also fighting Deathstroke at the same time and also trying to locate the Riddler.
Why is he fighting Deathstroke?
Deathstroke is one of the many assassins that have been hired by another part of I think it was part of Penguin's plan by the Designer. I'm not 100% clear on it.
I think they're putting all of their cats in the bag at the same time.
Like Cheshire's also running around, and I think I'm trying to remember, because they did a whole thing like, oh, all the best assassins are here. And I was like,
well, okay, we got Deathstroke, and now we got Cheshire. Is Gail Simone writing this?
If only.
That would be awesome.
But anyways, so Batman is just kind of effortlessly answering Riddler's questions, and Riddler's getting more and more frustrated. And then Batman pulls out the Bat Train.
The Bat Train.
He's got a secret Bat Train in the subways. A+. Loved that.
Was it actually stylized as such?
Deathstroke even makes us like, really? The Bat Train? And so Batman is, of course, able to get to old Eddie. Meanwhile, Catwoman and Harley are going on an adventure in the sewers when they run into its Punchline.
And how'd that go?
Harley and Punchline exchange words. Harley's like, oh, honey, in a few years or a few months, after a lot of thinking and crying into your shower, we'll have a nice talk about this. But for now, I'm going to beat you with this hammer.
Which is surprising, because in the issues I've seen and the previews I've seen, Punchline is not a talker.
Yeah, she finally gets to talk. He gets multiple lines of dialogue, which I really liked, because I was like, oh, the silent Asian henchwoman trope is not a great one. One I was happy to see go away for the most part. And so when
do we find out what her motivation is for being Joker's henchwoman?
It's in the Joker 80th anniversary special, which I didn't read, but Tynan and Michael Yannon do a origin story for her there. So if you want to know more about Punchline, pick up Joker 80th.
I'm probably going to have to do that now.
There
So I
you
want
go.
to I want to see what the motivation is.
Yeah, so there's a nice little fight scene with Catwoman and Harley and Punchline and her goons, and Batman shuts down the Riddler, but who should be there awaiting him in stately Wayne Manor but the designer?
Oh, I was thinking Alfred because Alfred's dead.
No, Alfred's dead.
Still dead.
Lucius Fox is his man in the chair right now.
Is he?
Yeah. But yeah, so the designer's here, and he's got his stupid costume that I hate, and I kind of checked out of the story by then because I was like, oh, it's a good Riddler story. I want more of this. And no, it's wrapped up. But I will say, better than I expected. If you dig the Riddler, worth picking it up. If you want to see Punchline actually do something, pick it up.
I have to admit my curiosity because it doesn't look like she's romantically connected to Joker.
Yeah, she does refer to herself. She corrects Catwoman when Catwoman calls her Joker's new girlfriend. She says, I'm his partner. And I was like, does that mean romantic partner or just like partner in crime?
I don't think that she's name checking that on that. I think that she might have an agenda.
Maybe. We'll
Maybe.
See. We'll see.
I'm curious now. I'm curious.
Maybe in a few months down the road when more issues have come out and the hype's died down, I'll have more of an interest in the character. But for right now, I'm a little sick of her and a little sick of people asking me about her.
Okay.
So next up, we have a book I know you were really excited about.
Yes, Legion of Superheroes number 6. Now, there's one way that we're gonna make an entire show out of absolutely nothing is if you bring up mutants and if you bring up lanterns. So, Legion of Superheroes obviously knew this was the fact because they're introducing a brand new lantern,
The Gold Lantern.
the Gold Lantern. Now, I read this issue, and like you, I have a thought. This is a Legion of the Superheroes issue.
Yeah, it certainly feels like more of what Bendis and Sook have been doing on the book before. It wraps up the whole Aquaman's Trident story, and now Earth has control of their tides again. So
yeah,
happy for
so
Earth.
disasters averted. Of course, the political side of Legion, which most people may not know this, but there has always been a political side to Legion, even back in the 80s. And it rears its head. Obviously, somebody's outraged this whole situation. He leaves. I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, I haven't been following Legion, so
I
I'm
thought
not
it was a
sure.
Daxamite, but he's way buff. So I don't think he's a Daxamite. And now that's my fault for not looking deeply into it because I skipped Legions 4 and 5.
Mhm.
And as soon as they baited me with this freaking Gold Lantern, I jumped right in.
But tell us about the Gold Lantern, Casey, because I saw when that one panel popped up, I was like, ooh, Casey's gonna love this.
Yeah, that's great. So Gold Lantern shows up, and it's the same page I saw in the previews, except it's got words on it. And off the side, you see Ultra Boy. Hey, that's Gold Lantern. He's got a great story. Wait till I tell you about it. And he doesn't. I'm the wiser about this character the same way I was 2 months ago when they did the promo.
I think we get one detail, because, correct me if I'm wrong, he mentioned transmuting blasts, right?
Yeah, transmutation or teleport or something like that.
So he's got some kind of cool, like, Philosopher's Stone thing
Or
going
something
on,
crazy.
which That's kind of neat.
We have no idea if there's more of him. We have no idea what his ring is based off of. He's just brought in and thrown into the mix, and then they stir really, really, really hard until you can't see him anymore.
I kind of want to give some props to the other Legionnaire making their debut this issue, Monster Boy. Yeah, I really like this little sequence in the beginning where he's trying to do crowd control, but he can't control what monster form he has.
So he
winds
turns
up
into that big Mars Attacks thing.
He looks like a Mars Attacks alien. And
he's like, I can't control what monster I turn into. Get over it. Move.
I liked Monster Boy quite a bit.
And I knew you would like Monster Boy because you like Matter Eater Lad. You like the freaks.
Yeah, I love my Legion substitute heroes. Infectious
like
Lass, Color Kid,
Frost Boy,
yeah,
Night Girl. Oh yes, I do know Chlorophyll.
Who's
Kid.
the
Stone Boy?
I would say, who's the one that just turns into a statue?
Stone
Boy. I love that kid.
I was a big fan of the substitute heroes back in the day too. I like Night Girl. I was like, well, she seems really cool. She's got super strength. What's her problem? She loses her powers during daytime. Okay.
Always thought it was wild that Bouncing Boy made it into the main team, but they can't get. Oh, is it is it Polar Kid? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Celsius Kid or something?
No, Polar Kid. You're getting mixed up with the over creative name of Chlorophyll Kid.
There
which
we
is
go.
Their plant boy.
Yeah. The substitute heroes rock, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
But Legion Superheroes 6, solid. Another one of those issues that is selling for like $20 to $30 online, so I had a lot of annoying phone calls about it.
Yeah,
because
first appearance.
We had cut our Legion numbers considerably because people were dropping the book, and then all of a sudden, I gotta have Legion number 6
because lanterns sell. Lanterns sell like mutants, and the Legion writers knew this when they did this. And if for people to under order 6, I just don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, we didn't know Gold Lantern would be making his debut this issue.
Although, in what seems like now prime Disney fashion, let's introduce the character. Don't give you any other about it, and then
we'll tell you how cool he is.
Yeah, yeah, that's about it. They did that with Joker's new little side marm. Hey, we're gonna showcase her and then not do anything with her. Oh, hey, she got 2 shots. Gold Lantern has 3 shots, and that's it. And when I was reading the book, I'm like, okay, now we're gonna really get into this. And the book was done, and I got angry. I actually got angry at my book. I'm like, okay,
you'll get your Focus issue in probably like 6 to 8 months.
I waited for 6 to come out. I've already had a ring getting made for this guy, and damn.
Well, you should have waited to see if you liked it before you put a ring on it.
He could have been the Lantern of farts, and I still would have bought into it. I am such a fanboy when it comes to this kind of stuff. All right. So we got more Batman goodness going on, except this is a different flavor.
Yeah, there were a number of Bat books this week, but 2 of them stood out. Obviously, the Punchline issue of Batman with 92 and Batman: The Adventures Continue #1. Now, this one's been available digitally for some time, but I didn't read it then. I waited for the physical release so we could talk about it. And it's quite good. It's from the creative team from, I believe, the beginning of the Batman Adventures comic with Paul Dini, Alan Burnett, and Ty Templeton, whose art I was very glad to see. I love his style.
So it's a return to form for basically Batman: The Animated Adventures.
Yeah, it's essentially, it's got that the art style from New Batman Adventures, so like Tim Drake is Robin and all that jazz. We open with Batman taking out Bane real quick in a little couple-page adventure, when from the shadows watches Jason Todd, who was never in the Batman animated series stuff.
So they really pushed this one ahead of the timeline.
Yeah, I'm confused how they're going to play this because they put so many of Jason's traits onto Tim.
Yeah.
Like, he's got Jason's origin. He also gets basically killed by the Joker. Do you remember how dark the scenes with Tim in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker were?
Yes.
Like, they had to censor it.
Yes, I remember that.
It's... Whoa. If you guys haven't seen it before, highly recommend checking out.
It was a big deal. I mean,
yeah.
they released it, and then like the kerfluffle about the edited scenes, and so they released the unedited version.
You can get a R-rated version of...
Which blew my mind at the time that they would actually do that.
And it's still shockingly graphic.
Yes.
And even more than like the graphic elements, the implications of this scene are so horrifying. Like, when you just see like the tools he's going to use on Tim, it's just... Ugh.
Yeah, and of course you see the real root of Tim's trauma is the fact that he killed.
Yeah.
Oh, spoiler.
Yeah.
20-year-old spoiler.
There are bigger spoilers in that movie, though, with what happens to Tim there.
And of course, Tim can't deal with the fact that he killed somebody.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And killing somebody's a big deal.
But that's getting ahead of ourselves in the timeline for it. Here, we got a pretty standard Batman adventure, even though Jason's waiting in the wings, with a mysterious robot stealing some alien technology that was chilling out in some of the Gotham labs. It's a little silly, but
I don't think it's
also brings in Lex Luthor into play.
Oh,
and
God.
you know I heard that Clancy Brown voice every panel.
Every moment, yes.
So good.
He is a good Luthor.
He is perfect Lex Luthor. And so he and Batman are both trying to stop this robot from stealing this alien stuff because Luthor wants to steal it for himself. And the issue ends with Power Suit Lex about to lay the smackdown on old Bruce Wayne.
So I'm going to say this, and I've said this before, and this bears repeating. this, like you said, has a bit of a surge of interest in Batman the Animated Series. A lot of people have been talking about Batman the Animated Series for the past 10 years, about how great it is, and it'd be really cool if they made more. Why aren't they making more?
I'm very surprised by that, because we are in like a golden age of TV revivals, and especially with DC Universe and HBO Max being perfect like conduits for that.
I mean, they made 65 episodes of Justice League Go,
which is really fun. I love Justice League Action.
One of those.
Justice League Action rules. So I'm not gonna let you mouth it.
I saw a video of all like the humorous parts of Batman. I like the fact that Kevin Conroy is doing that one as well. That's cool.
You can actually find some clips of Kevin Conroy reading panels from these issues.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he posted some online, and they're great.
That's actually very cool. That's one thing I really I like about that. Okay, I can't really believe I'm going to say, something I really like about this pandemic is the fact that creatives are easily accessible to do these kinds of things, like the community read through that they did recently. I'm like, oh my God, I'm freaking nerdgasm watching that. And they brought in Pedro Pascal to do Walt Goggins' role in that. Did you actually see the...
I still haven't seen it, but you can do a lot worse to replace Ace Goggins than Pedro Pascal.
Who is from here, I found out.
Oh.
Went to high school here in San Antonio.
I had no idea.
I didn't know that either. And that's kind of crazy.
So kind of on that same topic of you wanting to see more of the Batman animated series, is a couple months ago, before this comic was announced, so more than a couple months ago, DC Direct showed off that they're doing a Adventures Continue action figure line, because they'd pretty much done every possible character they could in the Batman animated series action figure line. And the characters were Red Hood, Jason Todd, Deathstroke, and Azrael Batman. That's cool. I was really mad about it. I was like, oh, this is just desperate. The characters weren't even on the damn show, and yada yada. But now I'm like looking at the comic, and I was like, oh, this is why they're doing those figures, because Deathstroke is in a future issue.
Yeah, and wasn't Azrael like on the ground in like some or maybe that's just my dream brain going on. They made hero clicks of Batman the Animated Adventures.
Yeah.
And it's a great set, which makes me wonder, get a writer's room. Get a freaking writer's room. Hire an animator. Get out the black paper that we all love and make some damn episodes.
I would love to see it.
It will sell. It will do better than Swamp Thing did.
Hey, Swamp Thing was amazing.
Poor Swamp
Thing. So
Thing.
good.
Rest in peace, Swamp Thing. I mean, Doom Patrol's got a freaking second season.
Doom Patrol's phenomenal.
We need some more Batman the Animated Series.
We could use it.
And this era right here, a good nice time jump.
Yeah.
Give us some crazy Red Hood stuff in the background, and we'll be satisfied.
From our mouth to your ears, DC.
Yeah. And on top of that, you know what? I'm gonna endorse the whole idea of Michael Keaton doing the old Batman for Batman Beyond.
while we're wishing.
Yes, while we're wishing. Bring it back. It's Perfect Circle time. Not the band, but so much the Perfect Circle, Michael Keaton. Okay.
So before we go on to our next title in full, I want to talk about a book that came out last week that bears mentioning now. It is Far Sector number 6 by N.K. Jemisin and Jamal Campbell. Absolutely one of my favorite ongoing comics right now. Mm-hmm. And this issue is so timely and so well done. You owe it to yourself to pick up all the back issues and catch up.
So it's ongoing now?
No, it's 12 issues.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, you had
now,
me.
Here's the thing. Y'all should buy it and support this amazing book so it can go for more than 12 issues. Though I don't know if N.K. Jemisin's going to want to do more than 12 issues, since she does have a full novel career, and this is kind of her first foray into comics.
But the popularity of this kind would bring the character into the mainstream.
Yes, I would hope so. Although, that does come on the issue of will the character be watered down under someone else, which is something I want to avoid.
Something that happened with Batwoman in her very early appearances.
Yeah. But anyways, support Far Sector. Great book from an all-black creative team. Highly recommend. And now, Adventureman. Holy crap. Yeah. So this was a book that I put on our list, and I've been excited about this book for months. I mean, you could even say I've been excited for this book for years, because I knew Fraction and the Dodsons were working on a project for a while, but it didn't really take form until the last couple years. And now it's finally here, and it's phenomenal.
It's thick.
Yeah, it is a double-sized first issue, but at regular price, and it is worth every damn penny.
And that's awesome of them to do this. I mean, this is obviously a trial of love. They weren't trying to cash in. They put a lot of effort into this book, and it shows.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
Every page is gorgeous. So the premise of the book, the opening at least, is the last adventure of Adventureman and Team Adventure, where they have to fight the Baron Bazaar and his sky pirates. And yes, it's just as silly and fun and pulpy as it sounds. Adventureman himself is kind of a mashup of Batman and Doc Savage. And I gotta read out the names of his whole crew because the names are phenomenal. So you can see them all here. We have Lonnie Langlois, Brawler of the Bowery, Jim Royale, the Gentleman, Chagall, Super Pharmacologist Science Witch, Sally Sweet, Ace Aviatrix, Akal, the Timeless One, and Phaedra Phantom, Ghostly Saint of the Burlesque.
With her see-through
Yes.
speech windows.
Who did the lettering on this? Clayton Cowles. Amazing job. I really love when like characters get unique speech bubbles, and her translucent speech bubbles look great. It's a really fun little tick. And the sky pirates they fight are, and here they are right there, the Atoma Terror, Baroness Bazaar, the Devil's Own Daughter, Slugger Dunphy, Nightmare of the Nonagon, Hellcat McGee of the Six Sisters of Satan, the Metamage, the Wizard of Woe.
This is awesome. I am a big fan of the Baroness Bazaar. She's the four-armed one?
Yes.
I love her.
So this climactic battle ends with Team Adventure's defeat, but then cuts off before the killing blow can be administered.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we cut to the main story, which is single mom Claire, who is reading this Adventureman book to her son, who's a huge, huge fan of the pulp novels, who is just devastated that the series ends like that.
This the feel of this it actually dragged me into two different directions as far as my nerd capabilities. Immediately I thought of The Shadow, the Alec Baldwin movie, and yeah, okay, granted, it didn't get a sequel. Maybe some people didn't like it, but the art direction of that movie felt like this, and I love that. The skew angles, the sharp shadows, and the sepia tones, and everyone looks great, and it's all in the early 30s. I also thought of Onyx Paths and White Wolf's tabletop RPG Adventure. Felt much like this. If you ever want to do some tabletop role playing with this, try Adventure. That's my plug.
So Claire is one of 7 adopted daughters, all come from different ethnic backgrounds. The entire rest of her family are all massive overachievers. So you've got like human rights lawyers, you've got doctors, you've got world-class chefs. Claire works at the bookstore that her late mother worked at or owned. And that's hence why she can get all these pulp novels for her son, who devours them. And then after having a awkward family dinner, which as someone who is incredibly anxious every time he has to see his family, I really enjoyed. She's hard of hearing, and so she just mutes her hearing aids whenever the conversations get too intense at dinner.
Yeah.
Which I was like, man, A+ superpower. You can really see Fraction is bringing his experience from having Hawkeye doing those deaf issues into Claire's characterization.
Oh, that was such a good issue.
All-time great one.
Really was.
And so she gets a mysterious visitor at her bookstore who I didn't clock who it was supposed to be at first, but then the speech bubbles.
Phaedra
Phantom, who drops off a secret Adventureman book, which she delivers to her son. And who sees a map in there. It's more of like a source book than a story.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, if you look at this map of like where Adventureman HQ is and where the bookstore is, it makes the Adventureman logo. Meanwhile, Claire is being stalked by a mysterious all-insect henchman.
Which looks great.
Yeah. Really cool, gnarly stuff there.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where our story leads off.
Oh, I just could not get enough of this book. I just found out about this book today.
Yes, because I messaged you to read it on Wednesday,
and
but what happened?
I ignored it. I saw Adventureman, and I'm like, I'm not reading that because I've never heard it.
I literally had Adventureman by Matt Fraction and the Dodsons because I was like, Casey loves Fraction and the Dodsons. So he'll love this book.
do. And when I read the email, not the email, but the text message, and we're talking about the books that we're going to look at, because I want to look at these, and all I see is Adventureman. I'm like, I don't know that. Moving on. Okay, Batman. New Mutants. That's my jam. That's where my head went with this. And of course, I'm still dizzy from how let down I was about Legion of the Superheroes number 6. Mm-hmm. So when you're introducing this adventure, I'm like, oh man, is that going to be some weird B-level stuff? And then you showed me the damn book, and I was like, oh, it's Fraction and Dodson. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay, I need to read this. We're stopping everything.
There's a really fun afterword where Matt Fraction talks about kind of the genesis of the book, and he's like, when I was working with the Dodsons on XMen back in 2008, I learned a few things. The first thing I learned is don't write the XMen. Second thing I learned was that I really love working with the Dodsons, and it's a really fun, charming little afterword, much in the style of the letters, columns, and sex criminals. So
I
highly
did like
recommend.
Dodson's take on White Queen. I always thought that looked really good.
He's one of my all-time favorite MRs, and I was so happy to see them drawing X characters again in X4.
Yeah, that's right.
Which hopefully we'll get that 4th issue soon.
Yeah, let's get that. Let me wrap that up here. We need to find out what happened to poor Franklin.
Yeah, I need to know what's going on with those Doom Sentinels.
Yeah, Doom.
But yeah, another great title from Image. Highly recommend. I've been waiting on this book for so long, and it more than delivered. And we're going to wrap up our comics coverage with New Mutants, as always, ending with our X-Men coverage. New Mutants number 10 by Ed Brisson and Flaviano.
And there's some mutants, and they're doing some stuff.
They're certainly new.
That's my trucker voice kind of leaked in there. Yeah, this is they still haven't wrapped up this storyline. We're still dealing with the Eastern Bloc country who doesn't recognize Krakoa, and they've got this mutant who is basically controlling other mutants,
whose design I absolutely love.
Yeah, that gigantic eye.
The big eye and her big braces, and which the cover for this issue, Mike Del Mundo, like, he's been killing these New Mutants covers. This one's especially gorgeous.
Yeah, he's got all the New Mutants in her braces.
Yeah.
And you see that gigantic eye of hers that's sitting on the table. So she's having a nightmare, and her nightmare is on the outside. And so it's like this big black amorphous thing is sucking people in, most notably a couple members of our team.
Exactly.
And in the background, of course, we've got your typical politician. Oh, this is all started when the mutants showed up. We need to crush them / kill them. And that's pretty much
patiently awaiting Beast and his mutant CIA to topple that regime.
Yeah, exactly. Now this leads into something now that we've had 10 issues of New Mutants that I have started to notice, is that there's certain mutants that get the forefront and all the dialogue, and some mutants that don't really get any love at all. And I don't know if that's by just the person's writing it. He's got favorites. He doesn't know how to write them.
I mean, Ed Brisson definitely has favorites. There's a reason my boy Glob Herman keeps showing up with a vegetarian laksa recipe this time.
Yeah, we do get a recipe right in the middle of this. Well, they dedicated 4 pages to Glob Herman on this
little chicken farm.
So it seems to me, and I do love New Mutants. Let me just be very straightforward. I love me some New Mutants.
Casey likes the New Mutants? No.
You might have found this out in our previous episodes where we
4 episodes of New Mutants.
New Mutants coverage. So it seems to me like the person that's writing New Mutants likes Danny Moonstar. He likes Sunspot. Who doesn't love Sunspot?
Who does?
And somewhat Cannonball. But you've got other characters like
and Boom Boom.
And Boom Boom.
Yeah, and Ed Brisson writes the hell out of Boom Boom.
Yes.
She is a delight.
But characters like Karma and Wolfsbane, really in the background.
And we talked about this during our New Mutants coverage. Karma is so often kind of just pushed aside.
Very much.
Like she's not even in the new movie.
Yeah.
Like she's very much of the original group considered secondary a lot of the time. And I found that really disappointing because I really like Karma and I think she's a really cool power.
Well, I mean, as far as the movies go, the guy that wrote the first movie did actually do in an interview and says, I wanted to bring Karma in as the main villain for the second one.
Okay.
I was like, okay, I can live with that. And I can understand her powers can be a little problematic because
They're pretty villainous.
Yeah, it's pretty villainous. And it's also a Deus Ex Machina. Oh, hey, we're having trouble. I fixed that for us. So yes, she's regulated heavily to the back end. Wolfsbane heavily to the back end, especially during the brood egg thing. And if she hadn't licked the brood egg, I wouldn't even know she was in the book.
Hey, she got that great panel in XMen where she says, that be me egg. I won it in a game of cunning and you can't have it. I love that panel.
That was cool. And this is me just wanting one of my favorite books to be slightly better.
Yeah. Because I definitely still enjoy the book. It's not as strong as when Hickman was co-writing it.
Mm-hmm. Wolfsbane is my favorite New Mutant, hands down. Mm-hmm. And to see her just in the background, I kind of irritated.
Yeah, I get that. She kind of falls into, I feel like, the same trap that a lot of the characters that were in Peter David's X Factor fall into, where they had such concrete good endings. It's a little difficult to figure out what to do with them next. I feel like Darwin, they've managed to sidestep that pretty easily just because there's not a ton of stuff for Darwin in the first place. And he's only had like that one issue of Hickman's X-Men, but that was great. And I'm excited to see where they go with it.
Yeah, as far as representation, you've got a great opportunity here with Karma. Not only is she one of the very rare Vietnamese American or Vietnamese French, because she did speak a lot of French.
Yeah, she's Vietnamese.
Heroes in Marvel, she's also a lesbian. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's like you got a double header right there of, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here with this. Inclusion.
Yeah.
So, right for that. Give me at least one story where I'm talking about the hardships of being.
And she's also an
teen.
amputee.
Yeah, she's lost one of her leg. I mean, she's got a lot of complications going on.
Karma is such a great fully formed character. And
yeah.
It is a shame how often she just gets sidelined.
Yeah, and I really hope at some point, maybe I'm not giving it enough time. It's only been 10 issues, and we've had this whole pandemic thing just kind of pushing the big gap between our issues that much wider.
And again, she did get some great moments when Hickman was co-writing the book. Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I did forget about that. I would just like a Karma story.
Yeah. I would like a Karma solo book. I'd buy the hell out of it, like a 4 or 6 issue mini of just her.
Absolutely. Because you know what? She absorbed her twin back in like 1983, and they've never talked about it ever again.
He was a real bastard.
Yeah,
so.
But I mean, where did he really go? What did she really do to him?
We could get a weird, trippy, like Legion style story in her head.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to have some presence because she absorbed him. What? I mean, there's a writer out there that's got to know about that storyline in Marvel Team Up number 100.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to do something with it.
Yeah.
That's a story seed.
There you go. Oh, just to wrap up kind of our talking about this issue. So what the mutant child in question, who is kind of making this black hole, it builds this kind of nightmare realm based on like your fears and wants.
Oh, I've completely glossed over Wildside.
Yeah, and Wildside. Wildside from the MLF is there, which is continuing a great trend I love in the mutant books of including like one villain in every team, and everyone's just dunking on him. Boom Boom calls him Clown Wolverine. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Make some balloon animals to help us fight?
They legitimize the fact he's got claws because that's how he injects his power into people.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Who knew anything about?
But then I didn't pay attention to anything Liefeld made.
But so this is a very obvious guess, but Danny Moonstar is left being one of the few characters not absorbed by our target mutant, and the target mutant has pretty similar powers to Danny, so I look forward to her saving the day. I think that'll be a cool issue.
I don't think I've ever seen Danny Moonstar use her fear powers at all during this entire run.
Wow. No, I think she used it during some of the Hickman and Race issues in space. Maybe not like as a focus thing, but like during the background fights. We'll have to go back and see.
Yeah. So she is kind of in a bad way. She needs Ileana to show the hell up and save her from those guys with the guns.
Ileana hanging out with Glob Herman, though.
Yeah.
Getting that.
You have chickens here?
I love that they've maintained that from Age of X-Men. That little Age of X, I think it was it Age of X-Men, like Next Men or something? No, it wasn't Next Men. That's the John Byrne book. But It's the book, Ed Brisson's Age of X-Men book that focused on Glob, and he had a chicken farm.
I didn't read those books.
They're very good. Highly.
That was back in the time where I thought that X-Men was really written poorly. And it was written poorly because Marvel didn't care about X-Men.
But you see, Age of X-Men snuck in because no one cared about X-Men. And it was really good.
Back then, it wouldn't really matter. They could just get away with whatever they wanted because X-Men was not the gemstone in Marvel's cornucopia or their crown jewels. Not until Ike Perlmutter got taken out and Hickman got put in, and X-Men's now relevant and beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, I think that'll wrap it up for our comics coverage, and we'll move along to our news.
So Comic-Con is a thing.
Yeah, very surprising on that.
Yeah, Comic-Con recently announced that they're doing Comic-Con at home, a virtual con where they're going to try to do, I guess, everything that they had planned to do for free.
Wow, that's very nice. I don't have to look for bad, low-quality cam rips of the trailers.
Yeah, we could all sit in Hall H. Everyone in Hall H. That means officially Hazardous Materials is going to cover Comic-Con 2020.
We did it, guys.
Woohoo! This is the part where they throw down all the confetti and stuff like that. Can we put that in post? Okay.
We're getting a no.
No, okay. So yeah, we're going to be able to see all the panels, I guess, they can put together. All the fun trailers. I guess this is right around the time when they're starting to feel comfortable about people getting back together. And this is also actually the same week that we're getting a crap load of new comics.
Oh, it's going to be an exciting week for us then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we didn't actually talk about the fact that New Mutants and Excalibur, which we didn't cover because it was Dullsville, are the only X titles that we're going to be getting this month. And the next time that we get some is going to be the day that Comic-Con starts.
Wow.
So that's going to be an interesting time. We'll probably be knee deep in taking a look at Comic-Con. Right,
yeah, talking about so many trailers and whatnot, and being like, "Did you see this? Or what about that announcement and the casting?"
I want all the things I want. I want that episode to be where we start talking about Blade. Please, give me a Blade surprise.
I'm on the topic of Comic-Con. So they've been putting out a lot of what was going to be Comic-Con exclusives online.
Mm-hmm.
Man, am I mad that it's a year where there's like nothing I want from the exclusives.
Yeah,
Diamond fails me once again.
Yeah, as far as exclusives, I can't really foresee anything that's gonna make me go, "Oh wow, look what's going on," unless it's like a secret project.
Unless they like release a super cool Legends box set. I've been a little let down by the exclusive Legends offerings, but they did like the Captain from Next Wave or something.
Oh,
lose my shit.
I would, because
if you sub in incorrectly costumed Machine Man and Tabitha, you get the full lineup, because they have done Photon. It's not quite it's her modern costume, but it's close enough to her Next Wave outfit.
Right.
They've done Elsa Bloodstone, who is costume's completely unchanged.
Who's currently in Deadpool number 5 this week.
Yeah, she's been in every Deadpool issue.
Because Deadpool is the king of monsters.
Yes. And Kelley Thompson writes a great Elsa Bloodstone. And they've done a 90s style Boom Boom. So you got the Rob Liefeld snowsuit.
And she's still wearing a jacket these days too.
Yes. She looks more like she did in Next Wave than she ever has.
Yeah.
And then they've done a classic 70s Kirby Ditko Machine Man. So
we need the Captain.
We got to get the Captain. His name is the Captain.
Hey, one of my favorite parts is when they talk about his backstory and the fact that Captain told Captain America his name and Captain America beat him up.
Yes, because it used to
he
be
was offended.
It was Captain and then the Next Wave censoring of Skull and Crossbones.
Yeah. We're pretty sure it was Captain F-Bomb.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the only thing that's going to make Captain America go off on you.
I was so delighted when they brought the Captain back a couple years ago, and I think it was a tie-in to Infinity or Civil War II.
Civil War II.
Civil War II is a Nova issue.
Yes.
Where the Sam Alexander Nova gets punched into a bar that the Captain happens to be drinking in.
I read that issue. I loved it.
I bought it just for the Captain appearance.
I did too.
And there's also an issue a little bit before that of Captain America and the Mighty Avengers, where they reveal that Next Wave was in fact canon, that the Beyond Corporation just made everyone forget about it.
Yes.
And that's when Monica went back to having her Next Wave era look.
I like the fact that they've dragged that kicking and screaming to new continuity.
Yes.
Because, I mean, that must have been... You had to get a shoehorn to get that thing into continuity properly.
The greatest trick Devil Dinosaur ever pulled was convincing the world that Devil Dinosaur didn't exist.
That's right. Devil Dinosaur was, like, excessively well-spoken.
Yeah, he had, like, a smoking jacket, and he had a little revolver.
Which makes you wonder, looking at the new Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl, which I believe is still ongoing.
I think it finally wrapped.
Did it?
Or
if it did, it was a long run.
It had like a good 40 or so issues.
Yeah.
And it's a really cute book.
I expected it to die in 12 issues, just like Marvel always did on these high concept books.
But it's so good, and it's so sweet, and getting a show produced by Larry Fishburne, so.
That's right. I would totally get into that.
They did some great... my favorite issue of it is... it's either when Moon Girl meets Girl Moon, or when Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur meet Moon Dinosaur and Devil Girl.
Yes.
They do a lot of fun name conventions.
I do like that one.
Series. And also, Kingpin's daughter, Princess, is introduced in that series.
I don't know anything about that. That shows you how much I've been a little bit behind on that one.
Very similar to the similarly named character Princess from Powerpuff Girls, where like she's a rich evil girl. You
know what Comic-Con would be a good platform is start announcing some of the castings for the TV show, and fingers still crossed for Alison Brie for She-Hulk.
Alison Brie is She-Hulk. Keanu is Moon Knight.
Oh, Keanu, be my Moon Knight.
Which, speaking of, did you see the Bill and Ted 3 trailer?
Yes.
It's dropped on 6/9.
Yes. I am super excited about Bill and Ted. I've loved Bill and Ted, and I guess I don't know if I'm one of the few people that truly not understood, but loved Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
It's so good.
It really is.
It is the rare sequel that is on par with the original in my book.
And it's a ballsy turn. Let's send them to hell.
Best 2 out of 3.
Damn right. And I like the fact that we get to see the Reaper again. The Reaper was in the trailer. It was like, well, my boy William Sandler is the Reaper.
Hopefully he won't get Melvin this time.
They Melvined me.
I'm beyond hype. I've been so excited for Bill and Ted Face the Music since it was even a possibility. And
Same
now
here.
that like the trailer is here and it's for reals happening.
I was on Facebook anytime something Bill and Ted Face the Music came up, whether it was like a possibility of it coming out, boom, I was posting about it. Bill and Ted speaks to me deeply.
It is most excellent.
I think Keanu Reeves actually did a commencement speech for San Dimas High recently.
That's so good.
Yes, I want to see if that's actually online somewhere.
Did he arrive via phone booth?
That would have been awesome.
It would have been too good to be
I
true.
don't know if Alex Winter was with him, but damn, that would have been a great photo op if he was.
So
it's not like my boy Alex Winter is doing anything else except promoting his one good movie since Freaks.
Hey, been doing a lot of documentary work.
Yes, he has.
Very
He's been very
documentary
behind the
work.
camera. He's been very behind the camera, not so much in front of the camera.
Yeah,
because I haven't actually seen him since Freaks.
Yeah, geez, what? Because I'm trying to think what, like, I know him from Lost Boys, know him from
Marco,
Bill and Ted.
You bastards!
But moving along to our next big piece of news. This was one that I was very excited about and then rapidly very angry about.
But I tried to assuade your anger.
So the PS5 reveal trailer came out, but more importantly, to my discerning non-gamer opinions, there was a Spider-Man trailer attached. And you know I refer to my PlayStation 4 as the Spider-Man machine that also plays Blu-rays.
I'm glad we're on the same wavelength on that one, because that's what got PS4 into my house.
Yeah.
Is Spider-Man.
Exactly. And I love that damn Spider-Man game.
I love it.
And
so
I saw the trailer and I was like, oh shit, they're doing a Miles game and this is going to be the killer app for the PS5. And oh, I'm so excited. And then the other shoe dropped after the trailer, because the trailer just shows a Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and the crowd goes wild and they say nothing else about it. And then the next day they're like, oh, by the way, it's not a full game. It's a expansion for a port, for a Spider-Man port to the PS5. And I was like, God damn it. You burn in hell, Insomniac. I'm so angry. I won't buy your stupid console day one now. Like,
clearer heads prevailed in the Johnson residence during this time. Let me speak on this. As I smack my microphone. I saw the announcement. I was like, oh, okay, Insomniac's doing the sequel. We're probably not going to see that thing for another 2.5 years, because that's what happened with Spider-Man. They announced Spider-Man, and years passed with nothing. And I thought that's what we were going to get with this. But then it's like, oh, hey, winter 2020. I'm like, how in the hell is that possible? Because it's not for Insomniac, not for this IP. But then I'm looking at that, and I'm like, I'm not seeing anything on there that the PS4 can't handle. This really looks like where they went with the expansion that they were intending to do with Miles.
Yeah, because I've been very mad that I haven't gotten more DLC since.
I knew that this had to be an expansion, but I was confused by it. And when the news came in like the next day, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, that was supposed to be an expansion, but it'll be a standalone, much like Red Dead Redemption's
zombie stuff?
Zombie Undead Nightmare.
See, I wouldn't be as mad if they just weren't so damn misleading in that reveal trailer. Because
I know
100% sold it as a full-fledged sequel. And like, I was ready for a Miles game. He's having his cultural moment right now. It would have ruled. And I'm sure it's going to be fun. Like, I'm sure it's going to be good stuff. Evan Narcisse is working on the script, and I love his work, so I'll be sure to check it out then. And I feel like they're not going to, like, there's no way they're going to make it on PS4, right? Like, they're just going to make it to make you buy the damn PS5.
They've done this in the past, though. They've released large marquee games like this, and if the generations are too close together, which 4 and 5 are a little snug, there's no reason why they shouldn't have a PS4 in this one, because the PS4, the base for it.
I can think of one good reason.
Yeah,
I can think about 500 good reasons.
I am optimistic because I truly think the PS4 can handle this thing.
I think I definitely think it technically can. I think that Sony's going to try to squeeze me out of $500 to get me to buy this damn game.
Because
you ain't get me this time.
Before I found out that it was an expansion, like you, I was like, okay, that's a miracle. Insomniac is obviously a god developer. If they're pulling this out in 6 months, I will buy a PS5 if that's the truth. And when you found out it was an expansion, I'm like,
I'll wait. But we're gonna wrap our news up with a more somber note. The passing of iconic DC Comics and Marvel Comics writer and editor Denny ONeil, who has been a huge inspiration for me throughout my entire life. Green Lantern, Green Arrow was a book I read when I was very young.
The road trip series
had a huge impact on me as a kid with his work with Neil Adams and Mike Grell. His Batman work is incredibly influential, between him making Batman cool and dark again in the 70s to his work as an editor for the entire Bat line in the post-crisis era.
I got a bit of a tidbit for you. You know that famous cover they did for the Green Lantern, Green Arrow, where Green Arrow is firing his arrow through lantern basically destroying it?
The first issue of Green Lantern, Green
Did
Arrow.
you ever watch Fringe?
I haven't, but I know what you're talking about.
Yes, because Fringe had an alternate reality where, the Twin Towers survived, and in the background, it was Red Lantern. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Green Lantern. And they have that cover.
Yeah. And they also have
done up like a Red Lantern.
They have like a Superman Dark Knight Returns style cover and a couple others that I'm not remembering.
Now I'm going to dig up that image. We're going to find that image. And if I have it, it's here, of the Red Lantern and Red Arrow, Denny ONeil crossover.
But his question book with Dennis Cohen is absolutely incredible. Impossible to track down now, but it's 36 issues of one of the best books DC Comics ever produced. There's a great issue where Vic Sage gets a copy of Watchmen and tries to emulate Rorschach. And there's a line where he says, what would Rorschach do? He'd kick some ass, and then gets his ass absolutely handed to him.
Poor question.
It's a very fun series, and like Dennis Cohen does some work of his career on there with Bill Sienkiewicz on inks. And his Marvel work can't be understated either, because he's the guy that put Frank Miller on Daredevil. And he did my favorite era of Iron Man, where Rhodey was Iron Man, and gave us the greatest moment of all time, where Rhodey answers the phone and passes it off to Iron Man. He goes, "Yeah, I know Iron Man. Let me call him up." Puts his helmet on. Yo.
I remember that scene, actually.
It's so good.
Now I know this was meant to be the last bit of news, but just as we're beginning rolling, we find out the unfortunate news that King Kong versus Godzilla is being pushed back 6 months. Yeah, and we find out also that me and Gideon have opposing viewpoints on who should win this particular fight. You wanna tell me a little bit about your idea?
So I'm Team Kong. I believe in the underdog. As I stated in the original Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla got a pea brain, but Kong is a thinking animal.
I am Team Zilla, because Godzilla is the apex predator of the world.
He may be, but he's not the apex predator.
I see what you did there. And with that, wait, tell us a little. In English, I was trying to tell you, like and subscribe, hit that bell if you want to see us, you want to find out when we're getting released, although we come out every Tuesday. Check out our Patreon and our other social media networks you see down there in the link. And with that, we will see you next week with Hazardous Materials, as hopefully we talk more about some comics.
Or we might have a trade review.
Or we might have a trade review.
We'll see what the books look like.
Yeah, because, God, we're not going to get some proper stuff until mid-July. And yay, Comic-Con coverage. See you then.